Hey everybody, I'm Missy.
And I'm April.
And this is SheelaNaGig. So each week we explore our own SheelaNaGig, a woman whose strength, perseverance has led her to greatness, who empowers us, inspires us. Maybe it's somebody you've heard of. Maybe it's somebody you have not heard of that you should know more about.
Should have.
Bring these amazing ladies to light. And we thank you for listening. Thanks for being here. As you know, we've been doing a lot of women's theater lately, which has been really, really fun. Right, April?
Absolutely. It's been amazing. Not only have we been meeting amazing women in theater, but we've been actually seeing the performances and coming away with such rich experiences and very memorable.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's been great. And that kind of leads us to what we're doing today, which we're super excited about. We are delighted to have the very talented musician, singer, composer, producer, and lawyer, Brooke Ferri with us today. Welcome, Brooke.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is so fun.
We're so excited to have you here. And you are just coming off the wrap of your latest musical achievement and play, Adanza, which April and I just had the pleasure of seeing at the Eastwood Performing Arts Center here in LA. How are you feeling, Brooke? That was a big endeavor.
Right? So super accomplished. At the end of the show, we had like a toast with the whole cast, and they said the sweetest, most heartwarming things. I mean, they talked about how this like changed their life. And I'm like, what? Like I did this thing? So to me, that was so... it just filled me up so much. It made me feel like so much of the hard work was worth it. I was like, that's the success right there. The success of like, that's the point of doing this, is touching people. And you always think you're going to touch the audience, but you're also touching the people who are in the show. You're touching the people who are helping you backstage. My 13-year-old son helped backstage. He was our box office. He took tickets and then
I love him.
Backstage.
Yes.
Missy has a whole story about him.
Yes, I do. Because
everyone does.
Like warmed my heart. Yes. Amazing. That's so cool. That's so cool when you have, a cast who gets it and appreciates each other and you, and, you become so close when you're doing a production like that, I'm sure.
Super close. I mean, that was theater for me. That was the whole point of it when I started doing theater in high school. It was, granted, I love being on stage and I love performing, but it was like backstage. It was making those friendships. It was like going out with Chris Sykes and Morgan and all of my theater friends and going in their cars and running around and doing crazy, probably super dangerous stuff that my parents didn't know about. But that was so much of the theater, was the community that it created. And, you live in LA, so many of us work from home. Like, where's your community? Like, I go out and I take a walk and sometimes I'll bump into somebody and know, hey, what's up? And like 10 minutes and that's it. This was so... working together so many hours a day, so many days a week for several months. I mean, you get to know people.
Oh yeah, totally. I just want to say, everybody who's listening, that this play, it travels to several countries, including the US, China, France, and Spain. It includes acting, music, singing, stilts, juggling, bubbles, glow sticks, ballet, jazz, tap, light up wings, silks, aerial chains, magic, fire, unicycles, squirt guns, flamenco, sash dancing, break dancing, drumming, gymnastics, Chinese umbrella dancing, and cello. And I'm sure I've left some out.
You took good notes. I'm impressed.
I did take notes because
I was a little kid light.
I had my miniature little book and I was taking notes because I just couldn't believe how many things were in there. It was just packed with amazing spectacles. So, and it's really funny. I know Lord Rusty. Wait, what is his name?
Christopher Yates.
I know Christopher. Yeah, I was like, I know him. I'm a performer as well. I'm a singer.
I saw that.
And songwriter, and yeah. And we did, like, my Irish band did the Ren Fair one year when he was there. And we became friends. So that was that was in like 2009. So it was a long time ago, but he hasn't changed a bit. I'm like, Lord Rusty, I know that guy.
Lord Rusty, I love it.
Yeah, and still
So red hair,
unicycles,
right?
juggling, very talented guy,
Oh my
amazing,
God.
right?
Can do
Yeah.
so many things. It was
Yeah.
like, because that was what we were looking for. The idea, I'm so glad that you like mentioned all the things in the show. First of all, for those people listening, some people are like, what? Like, that's too much. Like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. But the idea was that we never wanted just one thing going on stage at a time. There's like 2 scenes where there's only one thing going on stage at a time, and that's like some storytelling scenes. But for the most part, we want you constantly looking, constantly watching, and multiple things happening, because there is a story in this, and there is music that we want you to listen to. But at the end of it, we just wanted people to be entertained, have fun, be entertained. And also, we wanted to show off our cast. And they're so talented. Like you said, Lord Rusty, unicycle, Diablo. He also sings and plays guitar and juggles and stilts. I mean, it's like, so why would I not use everything this person can do in the show? Why would I leave any of that on the cutting room floor? Like, no, let's find a. I didn't want anything to be random and not make sense. And I hope that's not the case. I feel pretty good. I mean, we have Chinese ribbons in China. We have a Diablo, which is a Chinese yo-yo, in China. So there is a point behind all of it.
I think I left out the yo-yos and the ribbons. Wait, I said sash
You knew
dancing.
you forgot
Sash dancing.
something.
Yeah, but I left out the yo-yos. Sorry about that. I missed that one. Like I said, I'm sure I missed a few. Yeah. So if you want to name other things that I missed, go ahead. Brooke, are there other things that I missed?
Not that I can remember. No,
Okay.
I thought you covered it. I thought you covered the yo-yo. I don't know. I thought you did. You did cover the ribbons. I'm sure of it.
I said sash dancing. I think that's ribbons, but
I think that's the same.
kind of similar. Yeah.
And we laugh all the time because usually whenever we do cover a Sheela, she does a million things. Like our joke is she has 500 careers where one person would have one career, and she works for the dead letter office. I'm sorry, I had to say it. That was Lizzie Maggie who invented what we think of as monopoly, and she had all these jobs. And I think she was an attorney. She was all these crazy things, and she worked for the dead letter office. But that was true of your show. It had a million elements in it. And we wanted to know a little bit more about how you conceptualized a production that had that many elements into it. And you started to say, that you wanted to create something that was visually entertaining and spectacular. But we're wondering just a little bit more about how you came to all of this, and also a little bit more about the name. Adanza, what does that mean? Where did it come from?
Oh, it means journey.
Journey.
Oh, it means journey in some version of Italian. When you look it up, sometimes you get that it says it in Italian, other times you don't. Other things say it's not. So I've also seen that it says was for journey. It's more like ancient, right? Like journey or dance. And that's what I found for both of those.
Well, that's perfect.
And I'm like, it's a journey through dance. Let's go with that. No, the idea for the name was something that, was like that one name, catchy, unusual, but, does have a meaning behind it. So, and then of course, it's not an American word, it's not an English word. And the show incorporates all those other, different cultures and stuff. So that's the idea for the title. The show itself has such a unique and long history, I guess. Starting back, so my husband is my co-creator with me, and he is actor, singer, dancer. He moved to LA, and he went on Craigslist and got a job as working for this company that did bubble shows, and they would perform bubble shows for kids' birthday parties and libraries and school assemblies. And he is a very charismatic showman, right? So he did very well, and he loved it. And he ended up purchasing the company from the owner. The owner, she passed away. She left it to her sister, and he purchased the company.
Oh,
he turned it into an event planning company, like a full-on event planning company. And he sort of took the whole bubble thing to a different level, and is performing. There's a few performers out there who do this sort of high-end bubble shows with light tables and smoke and all this. And so he started doing some of that. And that's fun, but he's really more than anything was a singer. And the two of us together, we just love writing songs together. It's just something that we would just, even if we just lived in a box and there was no recording elements and we were never going to sing these songs for anybody, we would still do it because we just love it. So we kind of had this idea of could we put the two together and do a bubble musical? And he had been in a performance for several months at the Edgemar Center for the Performing Arts. And he became close with the people that work there, and he brought the idea to them. And they were like, yes. They're like, we'll co-produce it with you, write it, develop it, let's do it. And we did. And then COVID happened.
Ooh.
And this was March. We were done. We'd written 13 songs, 5 instrumentals, produced everything, wrote the whole story, ready to go. And I called them, and she's like, this thing right now, people aren't really coming out to the theater. We're going to have to put this on pause. And the theater ended up closing. It didn't make it.
Oh my gosh.
So it was sad just for the city of Santa Monica, because it was a great theater, a huge space, 2 theaters, beautiful, right on Main Street. It's now a restaurant.
Oh, how sad.
Do we need more restaurants? Do we need more theaters? I say theaters, but so that was super sad. So we kind of shelved the idea for a little bit. We didn't know, we hadn't produced something of this magnitude before. And we're like, how do we do this ourselves? How do we self-finance it? We said, well, let's figure it out. And so we decided to figure it out. And like you said, we're both sort of multi-hyphenates, which you guys both are as well, which is so cool. When I saw your website and everything about you both, I'm like, oh, they do a million things just like me. And so do all the other women that they've interviewed. Because sometimes that's a little... It makes me wonder about myself sometimes. I'm like, can I not focus? Is that why I have to do all these things? Or is it because I just have all these interests? I mean, that's what I think.
Right.
I think it's because I am very interested in lots of things.
Right.
But
do you ever have the sense that the more you do, the better you do it?
Oh my gosh. Oh, you have to be busy in order to get anything done.
That's what I think. I always think the more I do, the better I do it. Yeah.
Oh, if I have nothing to do, I don't get anything done.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, that's 100% sure.
Yeah.
If you only have it's like when you only live 5 minutes away from somewhere, you're going to be late because you're like, it's only 5 minutes away. But if you know you got to drive an hour, you're going to be on time because you're going early. Yeah.
That's a good analogy for sure.
100%.
Yes.
So we decided we both had enough skill sets that we thought we could, end up putting it together. Being an attorney, I do entertainment law. And there's a lot of business that goes into that.
Sure.
And my husband runs his business. And we're like, we can putting up a play. It's a production company. It's a business. We can do that.
Right.
And we both have, and he has a lot of stage experience and I have some. So we're like, yeah, we can make this happen. Let's just go from one step to the next. I had a really interesting experience several years ago. I was working with somebody helping to build a film and TV music library. And when we first got started, it was so daunting because we started with 0 and you have to build so much. And I thought, there's no way I can do this. And I was like, just today, just do this. And then today do the next step. And then today do the next step. And that was such a good learning experience for me because that was how I applied that to this experience was like, okay, the script is done. Let's hire the cast. Right. And if we can hire a cast, then we can do the next step. We can find rehearsal space, which we did. And then we can find a theater, which we did. Well, I mean, we found the theater first. But, it was just one step at a time. Definitely would have learned a lot and will do it better next time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Well, there were a lot of great songs. My favorite song was When I Hear That Song.
Oh,
I really, I really love that song. And so I just kind of wanted to ask you about, a little bit about the process. It's interesting because my husband and I are songwriters together. We got hired to write a musical many years ago. And I always say it was like writing backwards for me because I had never done that before. Mm-hmm. In your case, you were kind of writing the book and the music at the same time, I'm assuming. Is that correct?
A little bit. We had a few songs already written that we thought, these should go into a musical. And that was kind of what got us thinking about.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Was that one of them?
I don't think so.
Okay.
A few years ago.
No, because it really lends itself to a musical. It really does. It's that song that, people get into and want to sing along with. And, I couldn't help but to move my body and,
that song has like a unique origin. That one is really sort of indicative of like our songwriting styles. Typically what happens is my husband will pick up a guitar and come up with like just a basic chord progression and a melody, but without lyrics.
Uh-huh.
And then, or I create something on the piano, I create an instrumental track and I give it to him. And then he puts a melody on top of it, again, without lyrics, just kind of humming.
Yeah.
And then I will tweak the melody. I like this part, but not this part. Let's change this.
Right.
And then add lyrics. And then he sort of critiques my lyrics, like, you could do better. This isn't good. This is bad. Whatever. We fix it. But this one was interesting. It had several iterations. And the pre-chorus was written in the car on the way to Colorado over Christmas, like right before we started the musical, because we're like, it's not working, something's not right. And then we're like driving and I'm like humming along and I'm like, what about this? Like, yes. So we found that the songs that we think are the best and tend to be the most successful are ones where like he writes the verse and I write the chorus, or vice versa. He writes the chorus and I write the verse. Because I'm sure, as a songwriter, you have the melodies are always kind of sound like you, right?
Right.
And sectional contrast is so important, especially in a musical, because it's about keeping everybody interested.
Sure.
And a lot of times with musicals, they haven't heard the songs before.
Right.
So you have to instantly grab them. And the way to instantly grab somebody is by lots of changes, quick changes. And so having a verse written by somebody who has their own style and a chorus written by somebody who has a slightly different style, we think that it helps keep the songs interesting. And that's one of them. So I'm glad. Yeah, I really like that song.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I see that the soundtrack is available too. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. The soundtrack is available on all music streaming platforms.
Excellent. Excellent. April, did you have a favorite song?
I did. And it was notably had a different tone to it, because my favorite song was the Chain Song. And the drama of that whole scene with the aerialist in chains. The whole thing was spectacular. I mean, there were many important visual moments in the play where it was just like stunning. You forget it's a play, there's a plot, there's a story, and you're just transfixed in the visual. But to me, that song and also the aerialist doing that in chains as
cool.
it was being sung was really very powerful. And so I was wondering about the origins of that song and the vision for that whole scene.
That song was definitely written, like you were saying, book to music at the same time. That was very much written in we're creating the story, and we've got to this point where he has to make a change in his life. And the script went through several different iterations and different sort of movements to get to the end. And we even end up making some changes after casting because of who we were able to cast and who we weren't able to cast.
Sure.
So our story, we ended up losing a bit of a love story at the end and really focusing the story just on the lead character's personal journey, as opposed to, he can find his passion, his path, because he's fallen in love. And we're like, no, he found his passion and path because of his journey that he went on, and because of all the places that he went to, and because of all this culture that he was exposed to. And he's like, all these people out there doing these unique things, I can do my unique thing. And that was kind of what we got to. So change was like a really, really integral scene, because that's his scene of deciding, like, I don't want to be this person that I've always thought I was or was supposed to be or found my way into. Sometimes we just, our path gets laid out before us and we're like, whoa, wait a second, how did I end up here? Like, this isn't where I meant. Like, my 16-year-old self would be so upset if they knew I was here. And sometimes the opposite happens, right? We end up in a place and like my 16-year-old would be like, right on, that was awesome. And so the idea for this character is that they have to have that moment of seeing the world as like, that black and white, that change, that moment where you make that decision. You make that decision to quit your job or take a new job or go on a trip or get married or get divorced or whatever that decision that you need to make in your life is. And that was his decision, basically, like quitting his job, more or less, it's a much more conceptual, I think, as you guys were getting to, it's a much more conceptual show than that. But that's the sort of story behind that, is that's his moment of quitting. Visually, the chains themselves are because our aerialist, Sharon Scott, is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, she was really amazing.
Yeah.
Very
And
talented.
originally we were planning on using silks in that scene because we loved sort of the angularness you can get with silks. You can get these like really hard poses and you get the dramatic drops. And we thought that would fit the music nicely. And halfway through production, I was looking at Sharon's Instagram and I saw her on Shane's and I was like, phone call, Sharon, hello. Can you do Shane's? And she's like, yes, absolutely. And I shared the song with her. She's like, oh, it has to be Shane on this.
Yeah.
And so
well, change and chain too are such close words that you know what I mean, it linked really well together. So
and him being chained to his desk or chained to his own lifestyle or chained to fear, a lot of it is about that, right? Just a lot of the story is about, you know, fear of change and fear of letting go of what's normal or what's safe and what's protecting. And then visually, the dance was one of the ones we used choreographers for many of the songs. This is actually one of the ones that we choreographed ourselves. So I love that you liked it, because we're not choreographers. But visually, that one, the music, as you said on that one, it's very dramatic. And so for me, what the actor should be doing just came easily. It was just closing my eyes and just sort of feeling the music visually. It was always supposed to be an office scene, so the desks and the chairs just kind of worked in with that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was really cool. Very bus, as my 12-year-old daughter would say.
Is it Sigma?
Yes, that too. Yeah, Sigma, bus, aesthetic. So,
I like that one. Ladies, my kids are already in their 20s. I'm like, I don't get the lingo anymore. I'm officially uncool.
This is the generation of lingo I do not think anybody needs. This one's gonna go. And we had some weird ones when I was a kid, but like, wow, the like Skibbity Ohio.
Oh yeah, Skibbity toilet. That was fun, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh my God.
So you have a 7th grader?
She's actually in 6th grade.
In 6th grade. Okay. Yeah. I have an 8th grader. So we're in it. We're in it.
Yeah, we're in it. I have a 19-year-old too. But yeah, so big difference, big, many years between them. And one's a boy and one's a girl. So very, very different, but it's fun. I learn a little something every day, You
do.
I just took her and her bestie to Palm Springs for a few days because they're on spring break. And they kept filming like all these like little, videos of them and doing this stuff. And I just kept like popping my head in. I kept like, mom, and then they'd be filming, they'd be dancing and I'd be in the background like dancing. I'd be like, oh my gosh, stop it.
Oh my goodness.
I couldn't help myself. I'm really bad. She told me recently that she said, Mom, your daddy's a lot more mature than you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she goes, but you're a lot more fun. And I was like, oh, I'll take that. I'll take fun over mature.
Oh, exactly. I'm like, pretty sure that's a compliment.
Yes, exactly. But getting back, Brooke, tell us about you. Like where did you grow up? Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. I grew up in Denver, Colorado. My father was a psychiatrist. My mom was a school teacher and artist. And I have a younger brother who is a pediatric ICU doctor. So my parents ended up with a doctor and a lawyer. They were very proud.
Yeah, I'll bet. Wow.
Yeah, my brother's amazing. He's super, super, super accomplished. Let's see what else. And also like a really nice person too, which is great.
It is.
So I went to NYU for undergrad, which was not quite the experience I was expecting, being like this like theater kid from Denver. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna live in New York and I'm gonna just be like, I'm just gonna have these conversations with people about Chekhov and Shakespeare and smoke club cigarettes and it's gonna be so cool. And like and maybe club cigarettes might have happened, but the deep conversations New York was a tough place to live. I was a little bit in over my head being, not a big city girl. I found that NYU, a lot of the kids at NYU from the tri-state area, so a lot of them went home over weekends or went home over vacation or had a group of friends already. I found it a little bit hard to jump in. So I decided to do just 3 years and then graduate early. So I majored in theater and English. Yeah. Well, I just went through the summers. I had AP classes. So I was like, let's get going. I wanted to be an actor. So it was like, time's a ticking. Like, we gotta get going. I did a few plays and films and a few things in New York, but quickly realized that like I could not live in New York and be an actor, and that would be better. And so I moved to LA, and such the right choice for me, just the kind of person I am lifestyle wise. I like to have some space, like to be able to be outside. It just suited me a lot better. I've been a lot happier since I've been here, but also kind of as quickly realized like I was probably not going to make it as an actress for, I don't know the reasons, probably as it wasn't very good. It's tough. It's super,
Yes.
super hard to do.
Very competitive. Yeah.
Super competitive.
Mhm.
I don't want to say I'm not a competitive person because that's not entirely true. It was more, I felt needy all the time as an actor. Look at me, look at my headshot, look at my reel, hire me, hire me. And I just hated feeling that way. I also felt like there were other things that I wanted to do that were being shelved because of how all intensive it is trying to be a working actor in LA. And I was working at a bar, and there was a woman who was it was like a live music venue, and she was the sound girl for that venue, and she was going to law school. And she's like, "You should go to law school." I'm like, "What? Be a lawyer?
Wow.
Really? Are you sure?" She's like, "You will love it. You should go to law school." And so I ended up applying to the law school that she went to, getting a scholarship, going to that law school. So Britton, if you're listening, thank you. You changed my life. She changed my life, 100%.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really something.
Yeah.
How long was that after you came to LA?
Oh gosh, it wasn't long. 4 years, I think, before I quickly decided. I was like, I don't think this is going to be the right thing. And I knew I was going to go back to school. It was like, what is it going to be? Of course, my father is a therapist. He's like, you should do that. You would be great. I'm glad I didn't. I wouldn't have been. I needed to stay in the entertainment field, and I knew that. And so I was like, okay, how am I going to stay in the entertainment field and not be just on the artistic side? Like, how can I be on the other side of that? And, you can, be somebody's assistant and work your way up and become a producer or something like that. Or you can go to law school and kind of like jump in. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen with law school. I wasn't sure how that was going to propel me to the next step. I also have been and still am very, very interested in environmental issues. And I thought for a minute I might end up doing environmental law. But it was, as I was saying, like sometimes your path just gets laid out. I met somebody, they knew somebody who needed somebody, they hired me, I got a job, and that led to the next job, and that led to the next job. And, you kind of find yourself with a career, and I've loved it. Law school was so fun, so hard. I learned so much. Obviously, you're in school, you learn, but not just about the law. I learned about myself. I learned how I learn. I learned how to teach. I learned how to communicate better. I learned to be a better person. Like people are like,
this is a good endorsement for a law school.
For law school, people are like, wait a second, lawyers, good people? I don't trust you.
Thinking, are my children listening and are they paying attention now? Go to law school.
Yeah, go to law school. But there's so much you can do from it. You really can. There's so many pathways and avenues for business. So helpful. It's so important. There's so many things that I've been able to do that if I had not been a lawyer, it would have been completely cost prohibitive because lawyers are very expensive. And so in order to do these things like starting your LLC or getting your trademark or getting your copyright or all of these things, I'm like, oh, I can do that, And
That's
of course,
great.
my friends know that. I'm like, hi, can you help me? Yes.
Right. Yeah. It's afforded you to pursue your artistic endeavors at the same time, which is amazing.
Yeah, it has. It has. And sometimes I wonder about that. I'm like, is that okay? Is that okay to have this? And I have my own legal practice. I have my own clients. I absolutely love it. I love my clients. They're so wonderful. I love helping them. I mostly work with artists. So for me, it's like composers and fine artists, musical artists, writers, authors. It's so great to be able to help all of these people exploit their intellectual property, not be taken advantage of, have a leg up. A lot of these people not know the lingo, the language, and the contracts, and how to protect themselves. And so for me, that's super, super important. And like you said, it's a good job, and it's afforded me the time and the finances to then say, okay, let's take 3 months and put on a musical, or let's write and produce 13 songs. So
That's awesome.
It's been fun.
Yeah. That's great.
Exactly where my next question was headed, because I had a feeling that this production wasn't your first rodeo.
Oh.
So how did music and art stay in your life through what I would think of as a very rigorous academic study to, go to law school, and a pretty significant career, not like, something you clock in and do with your eyes closed and a hand behind your back. So how did all that play out? How did you create?
That's such a great question. Thank you. How did that all play out? Like, I can't have life without music. It just doesn't work. My mom always had music playing, always. I mean, she was like this is before me, but she had the record collection, and then that was over, and she had the tape collection, and that was over. And then when I was a kid, we had the CD collection, and it was intense. The Capitol Records, the CD mail thing, like every month. She was like,
oh, that's awesome.
Anything. Oh no, was it Columbia Records? Like the mail-in thing?
I remember that.
Yeah, right? She would get that every month when I was a kid.
Mm.
And random stuff would come, and she put it in, like, let's listen to this, let's listen to this. And it's kind of the story of the name of my oldest son. His name is Django, and he's named after Django Reinhardt, who was a gypsy jazz guitar player. And when I met my husband, he knew I was really into music, and he's French. And he said, I want to play something for you. I think you're really going to like it. And he turned it on, and I listened to like 3 seconds. I was like, oh, Django Reinhardt. And he was like, wait, what? How do you know this? He was
surprised you knew Django.
I'm super surprised that I knew.
That's funny.
Because, at the time I was also listening to a lot of punk rock and the White Stripes. And, I don't think he was expecting that. And so, yeah, that's how our son is named Django. And our other son is named Ennio, after Ennio Morricone.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Who Ennio Morricone wrote the music to Django, both Django movies. So,
wow, that's so cool. That's cool.
See, I'm just like a kind of music geek. I played piano growing up. I tried to play guitar a little bit. I'm not very good at it. I played percussion a little bit. I think I probably wrote my first song when I was 5, and I was standing outside in front of the kindergarten walking past. And I remember like this moment of like writing a song in my head and thinking, oh, wait a second, that's a song. Like, this is cool. And then as a teenager, like the journals of all the song lyrics and you read back, you're like, oh, these are so bad. Oh my God. Why did I take myself so seriously? So yeah, those had to get dumped. But that's the process of it. You got to write a lot of bad stuff before you find good stuff. And songwriting is so fun because you can write a terrible song, but it can have a great line in it. And that great line can be it can become a great song. So to me, that's very fun. But how did I keep music going? I wish I had kept piano going more. There's definitely been big blocks of my life. And law school, I don't think I played. I really don't. Luckily, I had a good enough foundation from just being a kid. Any kids out there listening, take piano lessons, practice. You're gonna wish you did. It's important. So yeah, no, it didn't always. Law school, that was it. That was all I did, was go to law school and like breathe sometimes. I think I showered twice. No, I did not do much more than that. So no, it did go away. But I mean, I always listened to music. I always studied with music with headphones on. Always. So I'm a consummate playlist maker. Every time there's a song that I like, I add to a playlist. I've got all my playlists all organized and like different genres. And that's been very beneficial when working with artists and like being able to like reference things and reference different types of music. And the kind of music you write is going to be what you listen to. And if you want to write in a certain style and you only listen to something else, you will not be able to write in this style. You just won't, because you don't have the musical vocabulary in your head.
Right.
So being able to write in a lot of styles is something that I enjoy, because I enjoy different styles of music. And it's only possible from listening to lots of music, allowing yourself to be exposed to other kinds of music, whether it be by, your 6th grader or your 8th grader. Like, I grew up really thinking country music was a bad idea. Like, I was like, this is not, people should not listen to this. This is wrong. And then when I started studying songwriting, I was like, wait a second, country music can be really good. First of all, the musicians who play on country records are the best. It's the best studio musicians. And the songwriting is so tight because they've given themselves a little bit of like constraints. Like country music has to be about a few topics. It doesn't get as broad as, some indie music or talking about, anything, or like, the alt music of the late 90s and the zeros, where it was like very conceptual, and you were like, the White Stripes, who knows what he's talking about in a lot of his songs, right? So the Killers as well. And so that stuff gets a lot, and the rock music gets, anyway, I'm getting on a tangent, but country music it has to be about a few topics. And so in order to keep it interesting and keep it feel fresh, it's so hard. And so I feel like the songwriters are so good. They do such a great job. And there's certain ones, like country music for me is like, I can't think and listen to country music. I only have to listen to the song.
Right.
Like, I can't just zone out and like think about other stuff, because it'll bring you back in lyrically, which I think is cool.
Yeah. I can't do that with any music, actually. Like I can't even clean my house and listen to music because I get so distracted, and I just go, oh, what's that bass line? Oh, what? No, yeah. I just can't even. I have ADHD too, so it's very hard for me. So when you were saying you were studying and like listening to music, I was like, oh my God, how did she do that? And then just kind of going. I mean, because obviously we were, reading about you and finding out more about you. So it sounds too that you've really been able to take this whole songwriting thing and also combine that with being a lawyer. And you started a company called Matchmaker Music. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. That was the catalog I was talking to you about, the slightly ill-fated. I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneurist.
I get that.
Right.
Me too.
No, I did. I had been working for music companies, music licensing companies, and somebody that I worked with approached me, and this was kind of, I think, because of the lawyer thing. They're like, hey, I need you because you can do all the contracts and everything like that, and you want to put this company together. And it was a valiant effort. We did a good job. It didn't end up, a lot of stories. It ended up just being myself after a while. I put a lot of work into it. I was like, well, I'm not going to let it go, even though this partnership isn't going to work out. And yeah, I got to the point where I realized that the amount of capital and time it was going to take to get it to the level where it was going to be financially sustaining, I just didn't have it.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough to do something like that and put a lot of time and energy into it, and then realize you kind of have to a certain extent, abandon it.
No, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, I think it was a great idea. Like just reading about it, it was a great idea. I mean, the way that you were kind of able to really help other artists kind of facilitate these, relationships and these opportunities, and being able to kind of handpick and then really use your expertise as a lawyer to create these connections and these opportunities. I think that's really remarkable that you had that idea. And I'm sure your artists were very appreciative of you and what you did for them.
Thank you. I think they absolutely were. I've stayed in contact with many of them, and I've worked with many of them in other capacities, forward, which is good. So it certainly created it created different opportunities. It didn't end up being what I was expecting it or hoping it to be, but it wasn't for naught at all. It absolutely ended up bringing things into my life. And
yeah, that's awesome. What about your indie duo with your husband, Fox and Raven?
Oh yeah.
Are you still doing that?
Kind of. I think we're gonna get back to it. That was kind of the precursor to the musical, really.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We had written songs together before we got married, and then he had his company, I had law school. That kind of fell away to a certain extent, and then we had our son, and we wrote songs for him. And so we wrote all these little lullabies, and we put together like 5 or 6 songs, and we called them hipster buys. And so the idea was that, the babies, they don't understand the lyrics. So the lyrics were for the parents. Like one was like, every day at dawn, I used to mow the lawn before I'd make the bread. But now, but since it's mom who makes more dough, now she is the one to go and I stay home instead. And so it's the song about the stay-at-home dad. And, I like to push you on the swings just to hear the mommy scream, OMG, it's way too fast. So it was just songs like that, cute little songs for for parents to like, Yeah, this is childhood. I got it. It was in parenthood. And so, yeah, we wrote all these lullabies for him. And that kind of sparked us writing more and more songs together. We started writing songs for like our friends getting married. So like I wrote a song for my brother and his wife. We performed it at their wedding.
Oh,
And just kind of kept going like that. And like, okay, I learned to record and produce at home. And so we could record them ourselves. I love sitting behind a keyboard on Pro Tools and like playing with sounds. It's so fun.
awesome.
It's just so there's like you have this world of music at your fingertips. Like I just downloaded this new sample pack of like all these Asian instruments and they're so cool. And it's so fun to have these like traditional elements. Like how do you integrate them into contemporary pop music?
Sure.
I love doing that. So yeah, that was the sort of the indie duo, I guess, was just the two of us writing songs in a variety of styles and recording them more than anything, just for fun. It was never going to be, economically, profitable. It was just fun to do. But it did. That's all of those songs like, oh, okay, so what can we do with these? Like we have a few, I'm like, oh, this can go in the musical. And what about this one? If we take the lyrics from this song and change them and put into this. And so it was a few songs that we tweaked and played with, and a few that were sort of the foundation for putting Adanza together.
Very cool. Very cool. Mm-hmm. And song coaching. You're also a song coach. Do you still work in that capacity as well?
I do a little bit of it. I used to work with a wonderful woman, Robin Fredericks, who has a great company, a song coach company. And I worked for her company, basically helping her. She's an amazing song coach, and she was just too popular. So she needed somebody to help her out. So I did that for several years, working with her. So much fun to do.
Yeah.
Really, just like really, really fun. Your job is you listen to people's songs and you like tell them how to make them better. It's like, come on, so fun.
That sounds fun. Yeah.
And like super rewarding to like to hear people get better and take something that you're like, yeah, this is potential. Songwriting is I'm sure you know this. I mean, you write with your husband, so you have somebody to bounce back on. But for so many people who they write in a vacuum, they write in their room with their piano or their guitar and they record it like, maybe this is good. And, you send it to your friends and family, but you never know because they're either going to be biased one way or another, or you can't send stuff to your mom. They're just gonna be like, "I'm so you're so talented. This should be on the radio. I don't know why it's not on the radio." Well, the lottery, well, I love you, but I'm just gonna send it to NPR. They're gonna put it on the radio.
No,
like you do that.
I think it's a great idea, though. Song coaching. I mean, that's a really cool idea. I hadn't really heard of that before.
Yeah, it was a great idea. I was so glad. Felt very, very honored to be able to, to be thought of and to help people to do that. It's one of those things where I think it's helpful having, the different types of background in songwriting. There's certain people, they're really more lyricists than anything else, or they're really more melody writers than anything else. And so for me, being able to be, I feel like I'm best at lyrics, but that I have the other foundations as well. And so that was, I think, what enabled me to work with people in that capacity. And so as far as like, okay, you know how to write lyrics. Absolutely. So now let's talk melody and let's talk. And as maybe just because of who I am or because of being an attorney, like I have that very left brain structure to it where I say, okay, well, you've got 5 bars here, then you've got 6 bars here, and then you've got 14 bars here. Like this is unbalanced. Like let's look at this. It needs to be this long and this long and this long. Okay. Can you break the rules? Of course you break the rules, but learn the rules and break the rules when it's working. If it doesn't work, then you have to go back to the rules. Sure. Why is the song not working? Why is it 14 minutes long? Or why, whatever the issue might be. And it's like, oh, you have your melody from your verse and your chorus is very, very similar. This is why this song is not working. Let's find a way to change it.
Right.
And it's
really, like you said, when you're, writing in a vacuum and you're so close to it, it's hard to, it's hard to figure that out sometimes. Yeah. So that's super helpful. I want to go back to you being a mama and your sons. So Django is 13, 12?
13.
And then your other son?
Yes.
Is how old?
He's 2.
Oh, 2.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
You have been of a wider range than I have.
I am,
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, very
Wow.
wide range.
You really have your hands full. It's interesting because when we did our musical, my son was 2.
Oh.
And I remember it feeling very challenging. Like I was like, oh my God, I have this baby and I need to be, but I have so much to do with, it was very, it was a lot. And I was like bringing him to the rehearsals and, and I'm sure you were too, right?
I did not bring him to the rehearsals. When we checked out the theater, I brought him that one day and that was going to be it. He was not. Django, when he was 2, I could have totally brought him to the rehearsals. He would have been
interesting.
Fine. Enyo was not. Enyo is at daycare.
Right. Okay. That works.
He needs sit down and watch. No.
I get that. I actually want to ask you a little bit about that. But talking about your son Django, because he was so charming, and he was working. There he was, like working the box office, and just very sweet, very charming. And I said to him, I said, "You're really good at your job." I said, "How old are you?" And he said, "I'm 13. What are you, 12?"
And Missy was in love.
Yeah, but like not even a beat. Like he was just so like, I just almost fell over. I was like, who is this kid? Oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Yeah, he was really cool, and I just was cracking up. But of course, then when I saw you come out and you're I was like, oh, that's her son. Of course, this makes perfect sense. Like
that's why there's a 13-year-old doing box office. Oh, okay.
Yes, but he's very mature and he's very charming. Like I said, he was very good at what he did. So I was super impressed. Yeah. So you were saying though the difference with your kids, because I was I wanted to ask you about being a mama, because it can be a hard balance sometimes between being an artist and being, any job, and being a mother, and, finding that delicate balance. And I remember before we had my son, I thought, oh, that's it. I didn't want to tour anymore because I had been on the road touring, and I knew I didn't want to tour, but I did still, we were still playing actively in 3 different bands and, writing. And I thought, I'm going to bring him everywhere with me. I'm going to bring him in the sling. This is going to be great. He's going to grow up in this musical household. From day one, he was not having it. Like he was not that child that he would scream, he would cry. I remember I had a gig in San Francisco, and my friend was like watching him in the audience, and he came like running up to the stage during our gig and it was like, Mom, get off stage. I need you. And I was like, oh my God. Like, oh, wow. He did not want me. He didn't want to see me being anything other than his mama. He just didn't. And my daughter kind of similar, not as bad, but similar too. So it was really hard for me to kind of wrap my head around, because I had all these other friends who were like taking their kids on tour and their kids were always with them. And that just wasn't, the case for my kids. And even at this age now, like 12 and 19, like they don't really like, I'll be listening to something I recorded and they'll be like, they don't want to, like, it's very hard for them. And so I'm just wondering about your experience, because you said, obviously Django is like, fully on board, and has he been that way since he was very young?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I would drag him around kid for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he absolutely came with me everywhere, and he would sit and watch or read his books or look at his iPad. Everyone was like, he's so good. Yeah. I'd be like, well, he has an iPad. Of course he's good. And to me, that was like, well, obviously. And then I realized, like, my other one, like, you give him an iPad, he's like, yeah, that's fine. Hello, attention to me. Let's go. Like, you gotta be here with me all the time.
Right.
But Django is an actor. He's been an actor for many, many years.
I could see that. Sure. Yeah.
He was on The Bold and Beautiful for quite some time. So he has that. And then he's done a zillion commercials. I think he was SAG by the time he was 2, Yeah. And very good at it. And so he has that in him very much so.
Okay. So the last time I remember meeting a kid who was as charismatic as Django was many years ago. I was at a party and there was this amazing kid there, and he was singing Changes by David Bowie. He was like lip syncing it, and he had on this like tuxedo, and he was probably like 9 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember just going like, who is this kid? And then he had everybody pick numbers, and then, he chose a number, which was mine. And so I got to dance dance with him. He like twirled me. He's like 9 years old. I'm like, oh my God. And somebody goes, do you know who that is? Don't you? And I go, no. They go, it's Robert Downey Jr.'s son, Indio. And I was like, holy crap. Like I was blown away. I'll never forget like how magical and charismatic this kid was. So I had this little moment of like, he reminded me of Indio, of Robert Downey Jr.'s son, and that experience I had where I was just like, oh, you know.
Well, Django will love that because you have to understand Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. So
that's right. That's right.
Hero.
Yes, good point.
Though, is Django musical? And I mean, you were singing, you're making up your own lyrics and lullabies, which I love. Did that translate? And how do you instill music and art in with your children?
Yeah, so actually, on the recordings of one of our songs is Django playing the trumpet.
Oh, wow. How cool is that? He plays trumpet.
Yeah. Is She the Music? The song Is She the Music was the second song of the musical. The trumpet is Django. So most of the instruments are me. You know, they're done, they say, in the box, which is like through Pro Tools. They're all samples. But that live trumpet is Django. So that was super fun to have him do that on it.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I love that.
He's been playing the trumpet since he was 8 or 9, I think. And so he's pretty good. He's second chair at his school. He's going to go to high school next year, and he wants to, continue. He plays the piano fine. He doesn't love it. I force him to do it, but I'm going to keep forcing him, which is part of it. Sorry. He's going to learn.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, no, but he already makes songs. He makes beats, and he's got GarageBand on his iPad, and I have to look at his iPad because schoolwork, which makes me nuts, is always on a tablet or a computer, all of it. Yeah. And so it's how do I know if he's doing his schoolwork or if he is doing something else? And so I'm always looking over, and half the time he is making sounds and writing beats and songs. And so it's like, can't really get too mad. I know you're supposed to be doing science music song. You're just supposed to be doing science, but he's writing songs, so it's okay. So no, he's very musical. He loves it. He loves to rap. He's a pretty good rapper.
Oh, cool.
He has a pretty good singing voice too. He's never really pushed it that much, and I haven't tried to push it for him either because I don't really want to invest in singing lessons until his voice changes. Mm-hmm. He hasn't asked for it. He does voiceover acting. I don't think he's ever done anything where he had to sing, but he's done singing auditions and stuff. He sings pretty well. And so I'm like, you know what? If he wants to get voiceover lessons once he gets older, then we'll go into it. And the little one is super musical. He loves to sing. He's so cute when he sings too. Of course, he'll sing when he's trying to go to bed, go to sleep. But come on, a 2-year-old singing is the cutest thing in the world. Yes. We mostly speak French in our house, so he sings in French, and it's just or then when he sings in English, he has an accent.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that.
It's adorable.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so
I think introducing music to your kids or your family or whoever it is, I think it's just done by just immersion. I always have music on. I come downstairs, I'm doing the dishes. I'm like, Django, put on some music. His initials are DJ. I'm like, DJ, let's go. And we always have speakers, and there's always music available. And I don't care usually what he puts on as long as it's not video game music, because that makes me nuts.
That's my son's favorite music.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. If you're playing a video, hey, video game composers, I have, respect for you. I've helped you with your contracts. You do great work, but it's for the video game, and that's where it should stay. Yeah. It's hard. I found it hard to keep Django focused on lessons. I think it's wonderful, the availability of sheet music and various things that you can find online and tutorials and do it yourself. And I think that's great and it's wonderful, but it's not enough. You need a teacher. You need a teacher to teach you how to play properly, have the right fingering, the right, just to keep you honest, and also no, you can't just play these 4 songs. You have to try something that's harder, and doing scales and things like that. So it's hard because it's no, I just found this online. I'm just going to play this. No.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, no, you're going to play in the Hall of the Mountain King. It's like, okay, fine. Like, okay, now you're going to play this Beethoven song. Like, I don't want to. It's so boring. And I get it. And I felt the same way, but it's important to know how to play different styles. And he's like, he can play by ear pretty well. So he just figures it out, which is great, which is really good to be able to do.
That's a real talent.
And he can read music, so I'm safe with that. But, you couldn't give him a hard piece of piano music to play. He wouldn't be able to read it. So, but you push where you can and you stop pushing, I had a friend who, she said, when I had kids, they were going to know how to swim so they don't die. Okay, that's a good one. Learn to speak another language and play a musical instrument. Those 3 things you must do if you are going to be a child in my house. I'm like, yeah, that's good.
That's good.
I'm stealing that. Let's go. And so I always told that to Django, and he's like, well, I'm on the swim team. I speak fluent French and I play the trumpet. I'm like, yeah, you do. You got it.
Oh, yeah.
If he's not succeeded as a mother.
I'm like, well, he's like, I'm like, you have to play the piano or the guitar. He's like, if he's not going to, at a certain point, you got to let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. It's just for me, from a songwriting perspective, you need to play one of those instruments to write songs. You need to play piano or guitar to be a songwriter, at least basics, chords. And I know he likes doing it. So maybe he'll learn on YouTube.
Yes. He'll find his way. I'm confident after meeting that kid, he will find his way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He loved doing the show. He loved it. He was so sad when it was over. He was in the car on the way back, just like,
oh, bet.
And we had another young woman, we had another teenager helping us out backstage who was really wonderful. She was so great. And the 2 of them, it was just so cute watching, like looking at myself as like, the teenager doing theater, and you just like get so into it. And so it was so fun having them backstage. And I wasn't sure what he was I knew he was going to love doing the box office because he's loves to talk to people. You can see he likes to be chatty and flirty and whatever it might be. But I wasn't sure what he was going to feel about the backstage, but he really liked it. And that was nice.
Cool. That's so cool.
That's great.
I'm jealous. I'm so happy that he can be a part of that with you. Like I said, I haven't really been able to experience that. So that's amazing. Very, very cool.
What kind of things do your kids do if they don't do music?
Well, it's funny because my son is he's super musical. He's got a great voice, but he doesn't like to sing, which kills me.
He's also a fabulous, fine artist.
He's a fine artist.
Oh my gosh.
Fine artist.
His drawing skills.
And I think part of it was always like, his whole life, it was like, oh, look at your parents. You're going to be. He was like, nope. By the time he was really young, he was like, nope, I'm not doing music. I'm doing art. No. So he is an artist. He has an artist sensibility, but he does have this great voice. And I hear him singing every now and then. And I'm like, damn, he doesn't want to sing. Like, how can he not want to sing with that voice, So that kills me a little bit. He played piano from the time he was really young. And then, he still kind of has like that, some of those chops or whatever. But my daughter though, and we're a family of adoption. My daughter is the one who really got inspired musically. And so she was in a band last year and she played keyboards in that band. And then she learned to play some drums and she was really into it. They had performed. They were called Drop the Mic. Shout out to Drop the Mic. But then the band ended up breaking up and she ended up doing volleyball. She just didn't want, it was kind of, and I was like, don't you want to be in another band? You guys could practice here, living vicariously through my child. Come on, let's start a new band. I was talking to the parents and they're all like, no, my kid wants to do soccer this year. My kid wants to do this and that. So she did volleyball instead this year, but she still has a big love for music. She loves music and, if she wants to go back to it at some point, she can, and she still takes piano lessons. So, it's all good. It's all good.
They're pretty young.
Yeah. It's funny, sometimes you just live vicariously. I remember I really wanted her to do roller derby. And so I thought roller derby was so cool. So she went to a roller derby, summer camp. And I was like, don't you want to join? It's going to be so cool. She's like, no, Mom, no, I don't want to roller derby. It was fun for the camp. That's it. I'm done. I'm like, what? No, come on. Roller derby is so kick ass. It's so buzz. Come on.
Roller derby is dangerous. Why do you want your daughter to do this?
I don't know, because she's a very rough and tumble kind of kid. She's very tough.
She is a rough and tumble kid.
She's a tough kid, man. She's a little force. So I thought, this is good for her, and but no, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You just kind of let them do their thing, and
they're going to.
Yeah.
Well, just for the record, I want to weigh in here. Both of my kids know how to swim.
Good.
They both taught themselves musical lessons.
Wow. Impressive.
And I had them enroll in Chinese when they were, I think, in first grade and second grade. And as soon as both of them were old enough to pick their own foreign language, they switched out of it. My daughter was born in China. We're also a family of adoption. And to this day, I still cry that she didn't stay. And both kids love music, but don't perform. But my daughter did do 10 years of classical ballet.
Oh,
and so
beautiful.
Are you kidding? That is like
beautiful ballerina.
Just
I think just instilling any form of art in the house and being able, and it's always a gift when we can all share it together. I have absolutely no musical inclinations at all, other than I like to sing off key, and Missy doesn't mind.
Oh, it's so cute when April
There's
sings.
no such thing as singing off key. It's just a different key. It's a different key. It's
joyful. Like, I love it when she sings.
Break into song to prove you wrong, but I don't want to offend our listeners. Brooke, we have one last question before we have to sign off. And that is, since your amazing, visually stunning play has closed, what's next?
We want to bring it back. We really do. We need to find a theater to work with. I think this is the only way we're going to bring it back. It needs to be bigger. Like you were saying, there's so much in it. This was always phase one, and we always had sort of 3 or 4 phases in mind. Phase 2 would be at about a 350 to 500 seat theater. Maybe we have a 15-person cast on this one, maybe up to about 20 people, like multiple aerialists going on at one time. We want to expand the show. We have a few more songs we'd like to put in so that it is a true 2-act musical as opposed to just the hour and a half. So yeah, we're taking a little bit of a break. We're moving, which is like its own thing.
Oh, that's nice.
Literally.
Fill up the wagons and, go on over across the street.
So you're just going to put everything in like rolling suitcases and roll them across.
There we go.
Wow.
But we got to move. We got to take a little time. Like you were saying, when you have a 2-year-old and you're doing that, you do feel like you neglect them a little bit.
Yes.
And so, and you'll need some mama time. And then next fall or next spring, we do want to find another theater to get into and see what else we can do with it. See what other amazing, talented people we can find, what other amazing skills they have. Like you said, we had a breakdancer who does a 2-minute head spin. I mean, come on. Like I see that.
Yeah,
that guy was amazing. He was amazing.
So good. He's so good. And he's so nice too. He's the sweetest guy. We had the nicest cast.
Gonzalo, is that his name? Gonzalo? Gonzalo Chalo. Yeah. B-boy Chalo. Yeah. So we should give a shout out to him because he was really amazing.
Yeah.
I was worried about his head. I was like, how long can that bad guy be spinning on his head? Is he okay?
Yes, he's fine. And he has lots of hair. It doesn't get out.
I know. And I was astounded. Another shout out to your cast was great, but Tristan Nguyen?
Yes.
Oh, really? Very joyful. Like he just had this contagious joy about him. Like I remember as a child, child of the 70s, I loved Godspell, big Godspell fan. He had this Godspell joy about him. And it was really contagious. Just this smile, this warmth, this consistency. And I was very impressed. So little shout out to Tristan Nguyen as well.
Such a good dancer. Oh my gosh, He's so talented. We saw his audition tape and I was like, he must be in the show. Like he must. Like, must have him. So talented. He choreographed our Tokyo scene.
Wow, very cool. Very cool. And I didn't even talk about the dancing because I mean, obviously the dancing was incredible, but even beyond that, just this this additional layer of just this authenticity and warmth, just really struck me. Really struck me.
That's so good. He was the sweetest person.
Oh,
super, super sweet. So I'm so glad to hear you say it. I am so glad it came through on stage. I see it, but when you watching as the director, you, for better and worse, you see things that the audience doesn't. For worse or for better is that like you see things they're not going to notice. They're not that important, but you want to try to fix them. But you see the flaws that the audience is never going to see. But then you also, your cast and you know who they are. And so sometimes you see things emanating that you don't know if it transpires. You don't know if everyone gets it. So I'm really glad people get it because he's so lovely on stage, so much energy.
Oh yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So much energy again too. Yes. Yes. Well, we are so delighted that you spent this time with us here, Brooke, to chat with us and be a part of our SheelaNaGig podcast. And we're really excited to hear about your future plans. We'll bring you back when, the next thing comes on, the next thing you're doing. We would love to be a part of it. Just for now, how can people find you? What's the best way to find you?
Well, if you need an entertainment attorney, I'm at brookeferrilaw.com.
Okay.
And if you want to check out any of the information about our musical, it's adanzamusical.com. And that also has just like my production email on it if anyone wanted to get in touch with me in regards to the musical or production or music production. Me and my husband's website is foxandravenmusic.com, and that has all of our music production, all the music production that I do on that website. Please feel free to, I know that the show is closed, but there's a lot of great videos and still images on the website and for adanzamusical.com, and we do hope to bring it back soon.
Great. And that's ADANZA. ADANZA. Adanza the musical. Check it out, everybody. And,
a feast for the eyes, I would say.
That's a good way to put it. A feast.
Can I put that on the website?
Absolutely.
A feast for the eyes in my little quote.
Feast for the eyes.
It's going on there. It's going on the website. I love it.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
I love that. April's very good with words. Yes.
From time to time. But anyway, please send us your Sheelas, your ideas, your feedback on this segment. And thank you so much for being here, Brooke. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you
so much for having me. Thank you guys so much. This was so fun. You have such wonderful women to talk to. It's been an absolute joy.
Oh, thank you.
I'm very honored.
Back at you.
Back at you.
Thank you.
Unabashed in your glow.